Business Latest is brought to you by the Qatar Tourism Authority and Catalan.
All sides, all views, all ways. Al Jazeera.
Qatar, as independent as you are.
Personal blogs by professional journalists. blogs.aljazeera.net.
A new world driven by new media.
This is a very peculiar moment in media history.
Analyzing the media's role in shaping modern history. The Listening Post, at this time on Al Jazeera.
The reality sets in for Libya's rebels as Gaddafi's forces score victories on the front lines. And opposition leaders are now asking for help to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. Hello from me, David Foster. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Defending Ras Lanouf, Libyan rebels battle to hold on to a key oil town. Egypt's new era. The country's Prime Minister Essam Sharif appoints a new caretaker cabinet in Cairo. And trying to keep the peace in Côte d'Ivoire. We report on the clashes threatening to tear this African country apart once again. Forces of the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi have struck back hard against rebel positions, and this counter-offensive appears for now to have halted any opposition advance on the capital, Tripoli. Pro-Gaddafi forces are bombarding the oil-rich city of Ras Lanouf. One report we've heard calls it a horror. In Misrata, the rebels say they are keeping Gaddafi's forces at bay. It's the only western city, although it is to the east of the capital, the only western city still in opposition hands. Government's reportedly retaken, that is, control of the town of Zawiya. That's the other side of Tripoli. Now, these pictures from Libyan state television show Gaddafi's forces in what was a rebel base at that area. Well, when it comes to outside help, rebel leaders have been changing their tune a little bit. Less than 24 hours ago, it was just one opposition leader leading the call for a no-fly zone to be implemented. Other leaders have echoed that sentiment now, and the United States is saying all options are on the table. The president of the US issued this warning.
I want to send a very clear message to those who are around Colonel Gaddafi. It is their choice to make how they operate moving forward, and they will be held accountable for whatever violence continues to take place there. In the meantime, we've got NATO, as we speak, consulting in Brussels around a wide range of potential options, including potential military options, in response to the violence that continues to take place inside of Libya.
And on that note, we're hearing out of Abu Dhabi, where Gulf Arab states are holding a meeting, that the foreign ministers have called for a no-fly zone. This is the quote. They, the foreign ministers, called on the UN Security Council to protect Libyan civilians, including through a no-fly zone. The ministers also called for an urgent Arab League meeting to discuss Libya. Well, Al Jazeera has learned that a firefight between British special forces and rebel fighters took place on Libyan soil. It was when a diplomat and members of the elite SAS military force were captured, albeit briefly, as they landed in eastern Libya, a failed mission that was personally authorised by the UK Foreign Minister William Hague. Al Jazeera's Hoda Abdul Hamid sent us this.
Well, yes, we do. According to our sources, when their helicopter landed south of Benghazi, it was during the thick of night, and I think they thought that they would go unnoticed then, but eventually they were received really by residents and rebels who basically heard the noise of the helicopter, and as they got off the helicopter, there was an exchange of gunfire between the two sides that lasted about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, we're told that the rebels really wanted to catch these people because they didn't know who was landing in the middle of the night like that. And on the other side, apparently they were trying not to hurt the rebels, not to get entangled into an even more difficult position. So apparently that gunfire lasted about 15 minutes until the rebels got hold of these 8 people.
Well, all of this is a massive embarrassment for the British government. Al Jazeera's Alan Fisher reports from London.
Arriving back in Malta, the failed British Special Forces mission to Libya. In the UK Parliament, the Foreign Minister said it was all a misunderstanding.
Last week, I authorised the dispatch of a small British diplomatic team to eastern Libya in uncertain circumstances which we judge required their protection, to build on these initial contacts and to assess the scope for closer diplomatic dialogue. I pay tribute to that team. They were withdrawn yesterday after a serious misunderstanding about their role, leading to their temporary detention.
A helicopter carrying 6 Special Forces soldiers, an officer from the MI6 intelligence service, a spy by another name, and 1 diplomat landed in Salouche, several kilometres from Benghazi. With guns, explosives and fake passports in their bags, they were quickly detained by locals.
8 people were arrested, and it turned out that they carried British passports. The reason that they were arrested is that they entered the country illegally and without permission, authorisation or prior arrangement with the Libyan authorities. Libya is an independent nation. Therefore, our sovereignty and our borders should be respected by everybody.
The UK's ambassador to Libya, currently in London, then had to call rebel leaders to explain what was going on, a conversation which surfaced on Libyan state TV.
We try to interfere, saying those people are coming to helping us.
Yes, their idea is they're a group who are just coming to find out where our mission will stay and how they will operate to do the logistics, and then we will send the officials in consultation with you next week.
I think the intentions are perfectly fair. What they're trying to achieve is fine, but of course it is an embarrassment in the way it portrayed itself, first of all, to the rebels in the east, and secondly, actually, to the government in the west, which sort of lose face on both sides.
This is a huge embarrassment for the British government. Special forces are highly regarded, but this is one incident that won't get a great write-up in their history. It's also a propaganda victory for Colonel Gaddafi and the Libyan government. He's been saying for a while